over under win total at the Caesar Sportsbook of 8 wins, minus 135 to the over, plus 105 to the under. The road slate includes USF at the beginning of the season, Oregon, Liberty, Boise State, and Stanford. The home slate includes Baylor coming to Provo, Wyoming, Utah State, a homecoming game against Arkansas. Whew. ECU, then Utah Tech right before the end of the season. Neutral site game again against Notre Dame on October 8th in Las Vegas. We've got Jaron Hall back. We've got to replace Tyler Algier, but we've got a really good offensive line still. And I kind of think that is what at the core of what Kalani Sitake wants to do and what he likes to get out of his offenses, which have maintained a very impressive clip even after the departure of Jeff Grimes, who went to that Baylor job. So 8 wins. What do we think here for the Cougs?
I think we know by mid-October. You look like the schedule is very much front loaded with those games. Like I'm leaning over. Like I've got them at about 8.6 wins, which is pretty well over, the 8 there. I just look at the schedule. I think USF on the road, that's going to be a win. I don't have high expectations for South Florida. I think Baylor in Provo is a very winnable game for the Cougars. I think that's kind of a coin flip. I think Oregon on the road is tough. I think Wyoming is going to be a win because Wyoming lost just damn near everybody that was important to that team to the transfer portal. Then the week after they play Wyoming, they're playing the Utah State team where most of those Wyoming players transferred. And I think that's a tough game, but getting it in Provo, I think, is important for the Cougars. So I'm looking at a team right now that could be 4-1 after 5 games. Probably 3-2, but 4-1, very much in the range of possibilities. Notre Dame in Vegas, we just talked about it. I think Notre Dame's going to be favored, and they should be, but I don't think they're a heavy favorite in that one. I think BYU's got a pretty decent chance there. Arkansas is a team we talked about when we did the SEC West, where I think is going to still be good, but I just don't think I wonder about how they're going to replace guys like Traylon Burks, and I think defensively they're a little too bend but don't break, and last year they were really good at not breaking, and can they maintain that? So I think Arkansas coming to Provo, that's closer to a coin flip than anything. And then you get that last half of the schedule at Liberty. I really don't know what to expect of the Flames now that Malik's gone, and I still think the offense is going to be fine, but can it be as good as it was? ECU and Provo, that's BYU. At Boise State on the road, that's going to be tough. Utah Tech, whatever. And then at Stanford to finish. So there's no real game where I look at on here that I say is a definite loss. Like BYU could win any of these games, and there's some of them that it's capable.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you could go 10-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Oregon. I feel like Oregon on the road is the toughest test that they have, and even that is not out of question for BYU.
Arkansas in Provo, Baylor in Provo. You mentioned the Oregon game, especially near the start of the season, but some of the toughest games on this schedule are either home or neutral. And that is a great recipe for BYU to be able to put this thing together. I feel like you get a push potentially, but 9-3 is a very realistic possibility. I feel like it is more realistic than 7-5. If Stanford does get it together, if Boise State has a really good season, then you might end up sweating this down the stretch of the year. But like I mentioned, I don't think that we're hinging the success of the offense or even the success of this team on any one single player. So even some of those potential coin flippy type games later in the year, I don't need to have, you can't have massive injury issues, but you've got to at least, you can even have a couple nicks or knocks along the way. Shout out soccer, and still be able to, still be able to be in a winning position on that game. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm going over on this, and I would not be surprised if we look up at the end of the year and BYU is going to go into the Stanford game, go into some of those late season, some of those November games with a chance to put themselves in a position to have a double-digit win season, which would be absolutely huge for BYU, especially as that program prepares to make its transition to the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.